Now, the remaining gap in Yuma here is no small task. We're talking 8 miles long, and we did reach out to the Department of Homeland Security about the timetable of closing it, but so far we have not gotten a response yet. Now, 12 News does have crews across our southern border covering this for you, not only here in Yuma, but over in Nogales, Arizona as well. It's another border city that offers a unique perspective because it is tied very closely to its Mexican sister city, Nogales, Mexico. And that's where we sent 12 News journalist Brenda Lipensky to see a little bit more about the differences that we've seen in the last year and how this community is uniquely handling those struggles.
Thanks, Allison. Well, since Title 42 has ended, Santa Cruz County has had to collaborate with other counties. And while more migrants continue to cross the U.S.-Mexico border, the need for resources gets greater.
From early in the morning
Thank you. Wish you the best.
to late at night, migrants from all over the world
De Cuba. Haití. Venezolano.
cross the Nogales border to seek asylum.
Now this year, the encounter that we have had from January to April is around 31,000.
Zobeida Castro is the director of emergency management in Santa Cruz County and says they were called to help direct migrants to resources months after Title 42 ended last year, something they had never done before.
We learned from scratch from the beginning. We had no location, we had no guidance. We were out on the streets.
Right now, an organization called Casa Alitas is guiding migrants who have made that dangerous journey to the U.S.
We crossed through Colombia, Panama, and also the Darien jungle, and we stayed there 3 days.
Seeking opportunity and freedom,
There's lack of freedom, and you cannot express your thoughts because you could wind up in jail.
migrants typically don't stay in Nogales overnight, and that's because the county and city don't have the resources.
Overall, shelters are very important. The city of Nogales and Santa Cruz County, we do not have any. I truly believe that that is an asset that we currently need within the county.
Pima County collaborates with Santa Cruz County to help make all this happen. Migrants one step closer to reaching their destination.
Fue fácil, pero bueno, ya estamos acá. Gracias a Dios que Dios nos protegió, nos guardó.
Thank God that God protected us, saved us from danger, and we are here, hoping for the best.
And the county working to do what they can to meet their needs.
At the end, this is a federal issue, and we need help not only with assistance, but also seeing the overall picture of the impact that happens within a rural community.
Now, we're told that Santa Cruz County could be coming into some grant funding, and how they'll use that money will all be dependent on how many migrants are coming in. Allison?
Brenda, thank you so much for that unique perspective. What a difference since I spent time there last year, and today it's basically the opposite of what's happening now here in Yuma County. But coming up in 30 minutes, we are going to speak more with those who live here, talking about how the border crisis really impacted the economy here, talking about one of the biggest drivers, agriculture. Plus, we have just learned some new information about some relief that could be coming here to the county as well. We'll go over that again in about 30 minutes. But I want to bring in Mark Curtis now in on this conversation because, Mark, you were here just a year ago in the same place that I was. And boy, what a difference it has made now this last year.
Yeah, Allison, communities like Yuma are literally at the intersection of national security and a humanitarian emergency. But this is an emergency that didn't happen overnight. It was born in Washington, where lawmakers haven't been able to come up with a substantive. And any talk of new legislation gets batted back and forth like a tennis ball between Republicans and Democrats. What's the sentiment down there about the gridlock in Washington when it comes to immigration reform?
Well, they definitely feel that, Mark. I know a lot of the leaders who I spoke to here want to work with those across the aisle from them who have different political beliefs because they know this is what's best for the community here. But of course, they're just one small piece of this puzzle. The bigger solution here, they say, is, of course, comprehensive border reform that would need to happen out of D.C. But at this point, the way Congress is somewhat at a gridlock, they just don't see that happening right now. They say, at this point, they've gotten used to what they call the ebbs and flows of migration numbers here in a place like Yuma.
Yeah, and why are so many migrants being shipped to Yuma as opposed to being processed in a bigger city that may be able to better handle some of these or more people?
It's interesting because, yes, Yuma is such a smaller city, but at the height of when Title 42 was coming to an end, at the height of the border crisis, they had to set up infrastructure quickly, and they were able to do that, and they did a good job. So now they have that infrastructure in to process many migrants, and as the encounters have slowed down here in this sector and have risen, really spiked in neighboring the Tucson sector, but also in the San Diego sector here, they just have the infrastructure, and that's why they're all being sent here. But as I mentioned earlier today, I did speak with the Chief Border Patrol agent. He says his agents are willing to do the job as long as they need them to, as far as switching into those roles of processing migrants here.
All right, it's been a year and some things have changed and some haven't. Allison, great job down there. Thanks.